everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Come on, Unity, let's put our hands together. Like me, I see you're searching for a purpose, guided by your dream. I see who you are, I'm just like you. I get lost sometimes and I forget what I came here to do. I keep on trying, when it gets everyone is God, everyone is love and light and vibration. Look for the good, look for the good. Everyone gets mad sometimes, and maybe they all should. Look for the good, oh, look for the good. Yeah, look out for all the heroes in your neighborhood. Look for the good, look for the good. Life sure would be sweeter if everybody would. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone.
Thank you for that, Karina, and our music ministry. I love that song. Some of you that were in the room knew how much I loved that song. I was jamming over there. But you know what? I love that song because as I sit with those words, right, like looking for the good, as we look for the good, we become the good. Right? Think about that, right? Like if we're always looking for the good in a situation, aren't we bringing then our good to that situation, right? And so for me, that really embodies what I want to share with you today, which is really about making Advent even more than just prep work, but really embodying who we already are here to be, right? Anyways, I'm getting caught up with the song and moving ahead because actually Christmas did come early for all of you in the form of not one, not two, but 3 jokes from me today. Christmas came early. You can put this in your, stocking stuffer, right? You know, they're short though. So what is the best Christmas present in the world? A broken drum. You just can't beat it. They get better, I think. What do you get if Santa goes down the chimney while the fire is lit? Crisp Kringle. Was that too harsh maybe for Santa? What do you call a kid that doesn't believe in Santa? A rebel without a clause. Okay. Catch me every other Sunday at Unity on the Bay. All right, aside from the jokes, I actually want to, I can't believe that, I'm like you, Shantae, like I can't believe we're already at the Christmas season, and yet I realize I say that every year around this time, but something within us doesn't actually like capture that. Time is moving quickly, life is happening. So it is good for us to come together and take these pauses and take these moments of becoming more intentional about the times that we are living. And so I'm really grateful that we have these. These are a Christmas to Remember. These are Advent booklets by the Unity Movement. And so if you didn't get one in the mail, we have some at the welcome table that you can pick up on the way out, or if you're watching online, just click on the link that is being shared and you can download your own PDF copy. I also just want to plug the fact that I got asked to write one of the articles in this booklet, so you can learn a little bit more about some of my Christmas traditions with my grandmothers through that booklet. So, we went to my mother-in-law's house for Thanksgiving in Ocala. And we were driving down yesterday, and some of you know that I have an almost, in like 2 weeks, 9-year-old son, Lucas. And as we're driving down, Lucas says out of nowhere to Tom and I, and my aunt who was with us, it says, there's some things that I like about COVID, and there's some things that I don't like about COVID. Now, this is through the mind of an 8-year-old, or through the eyes of an 8-year-old, right? And so just, pondering on it, I was like, all right, well, what are the things that you don't like about COVID? And he said, well, people are getting hurt. There's people that are dying. People can't see each other. I was like, yeah, doesn't that open us up for compassion? I said, well, what are some of the things that you like about COVID? He said, well, we used to stay home more. I didn't have to go to school. He also threw in, I didn't have to go to school as much. But he talked about like us being home more, and being connected more. And it's not lost on me that was my experience of COVID, right? Like I remember I went through some talks from last year, and around this time I actually shared how much I loved baking with my son during the shutdown and how I wanted to make it a practice. Don't ask me when the last time I baked with my son was. I mean, it really, it hit me. Oh my gosh. That which I spoke to our community about something that I wanted to make a practice because I loved the experience with my son so much, didn't become a practice. And so then we kept driving down, and we stopped at an outlet mall. And mind you, I was at the outlet mall, so I'm one of those people, but it was so busy. It was so busy, so many people. There were huge lines of people waiting to just get into stores. And it just hit me, and it just asked, how much of what I personally learned through this experience of COVID, through the different ways in which we had to be with each other, me with my family, how many did I really just make into a practice? How much of it did I just let sort of slip by? And so for me, this holiday season, especially with these things in my face, it's really about being very intentional, about going into the things that I believe will bring me a greater sense of the Christmas holiday, right? The Christmas holiday is really all about just celebrating the Christ light that is within us and the Christ light that is born. And, we tend to make it a big deal on one evening, Christmas Eve at the candlelight service and Christmas Day. But it really is something that is happening moment by moment within us. And so how can I be more open to recognizing this truth in me and in others? And I think Advent is a great opportunity for us to really get clear about how to do that for ourselves. And your answers may be different than mine, but being very intentional, very focused, and very clear about how it is that I want to use the next 4 weeks to really step into more of my truth, right? More of the ways in which I can not only understand myself as the light, but be an expression of more light in the world. Because that's what my son was, at least that's what I got from what my son's sharing. It was like the moments that we were sharing were really powerful and really beautiful because we paused and we were intentional about the ways in which we were showing up for each other. At least that's how I experienced it. And so Advent is, the coming of something new, something unknown being in the horizon, and something that we in some ways feel is bringing us into greater awareness or a new adventure, a new way of being, a new way of experiencing life. And so what is on the cusp of being born in us? Not the Christ light being born in us, the Christ light already is, but what kind of awareness, what kind of energy, what kind of consciousness is at the cusp of becoming a reality for us? And how can we usher in this arrival? I love that. I didn't remember that was the song that was going to be played during right before the talk, but it is about that. It is about looking out for the good, looking out for the love, the peace, the faith, the joy, and in that, being more of those things, right? When we come to Advent, I've often shared, because I have a tradition with Advent and the Advent wreaths and the calendar, the Christmas calendar at home. How many of you have like a little Christmas calendar? Maybe some of you, right? Where you open it up and there's little, a couple of years ago, I started putting affirmations in the Christmas calendar. And so instead of opening it up and finding a candy in there, we'd get an affirmation and our family would read it together, right? And so this is what this season is for me, like a new way of experiencing hope, peace, love, and joy. Now, the Buddha says, if you light a lamp for someone else, it will also brighten your path. And that's where I'm at with Advent today. It's this reawakening of the Christ light, this journey, this adventure towards a greater awareness of the light that is within me. And sometimes that is through the inner work, or it is through the inner work that we do, but the way that it expresses itself sometimes is in the outer works that we do, right? Our faith expresses in the outer work. Our love, our peace, our joy, it expresses. If we are feeling it, if we are embodying it, it is being shared. And so the more that I can look to see how I can share these 4 attributes of Advent or these 4 reminders of Advent, the more that maybe my path towards living it more fully, knowing it more fully, embodying it more fully becomes lighter, it becomes clearer. And so rather than just focusing on these 4 attributes, my invitation for us all, myself very much included in that, is to be hope this holiday season. To be hope. Hope for somebody else. Not just hope for me, but hope for somebody else. To be peace. How it is that I'm showing up in the world. That it be peace that guides my way, guides my interactions. To be love and to be joy. And so being hope, being hope and faith. And it's interesting because in unity, we tend to bring together the hope and the faith as one. Probably because, as I've read, it's, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And so hope, in some ways doesn't necessarily have the same strength maybe as hope. That's the way that it was viewed. But I'm starting to feel like hope is really important, and maybe hope can be a little shaky at times, but it is hope that allows us to move into a greater sense of faith. Because if I'm hoping that something takes place and I experience those things, don't I then move into a greater sense of faith in those things? And so my invitation for us is to look at the hope and faith continuum, right? Like how we can add hope in the lives of others so that then they can experience a greater sense of faith. And think about the ways, or the people, right? Like look for the people, right? Like look for the people that bring good into your life. Think about the people that you have in your life that have a great sense of faith, have a great sense of hope. Don't they inspire a greater sense of hope and faith in you? And so the more that you build hope and faith in others, the more you'll experience what that hope and faith is doing for them, the more you believe it for yourself more clearly. And so my invitation is for us to do things to bring a greater sense of hope for people. One spark of hope can move us through so much fear and anxiety. And there is fear and anxiety going on in the world. The song said, like, the world can feel like it's gone mad, and maybe people are mad, and there's reason to be mad. And in the midst of these challenges, because the reality is that there is still a lot for us to overcome, right? Like sometimes during the Christmas holidays, we want to pretend that everything is, I have no idea why I stopped myself from saying honky dory. Maybe I just didn't want to seem like that, whatever. But but think about it, right? Like sometimes we start focusing on, the lights and the trees and all the things that are beautiful. It doesn't change the fact that there are still challenges, poverty, racism, all those isms going on in the world, our own unhealed stuff showing up. And so how can we bring hope to those things? How can we bring hope to the people that are experiencing those things maybe even more strongly than we are? And so, I don't know, giving somebody a call and just letting them know that you're there. Or sharing your own stories, right? Like how many of you have been brought alive through the Unity teachings? I know I have. How many of you have experienced these principles at work? I know I have. And so aren't we the living testimony to this way of being? Aren't we the living testimony to the goodness of God in our lives? And so that itself, us, the way that we stand clear as a living testimony of God is the way that we can bring others hope and a deeper sense of faith. And so whatever way that you are called to bring people hope, I see our little elves in the back, right? From Angels Everywhere. It's not lost on me that the program is not called the Christmas Toy Program. It's called the Christmas Joy Program. And so how can you bring hope to those that may have a difficult time this holiday season? And be more of what we have come here to be. Again, the more that we act from this space, the more that we believe that this space is the truth of who we are. Now, how can we be peace? Mystic Thomas Merton says, be still. Listen to the stones of the wall. Be silent. They try to speak your name. Listen to the living walls. Who are you? Who are you? Whose silence are you? I'm even experiencing peace in the room as we read those words that just speak to the silence. And how can I be more of that silence in taking my time in meditation, adding time to our meditation practice? And because this is something that I want to invite us to look at, not just from the place of like standing still, but being out in the world. One of the things that I realized for me is that the more connected I feel to the peace that is within me, or the silence that is within me, the easier it is to catch myself when I'm not acting from that place. And so the more that we go within, the more that we are self-reflective, the more that we are able to catch ourselves when we are not being peace in the world. And I speak a lot about my relationship with my son, don't I? But greatest teacher, right? And so Lucas, I know that a lot of the times when there is not peace within us, how does it show up? It's through words, with what I say. And so what I'm taking in for this Advent season, what I invite you to also look at is that our words are a reflection of the peace or the lack of peace that we feel within. And so to take a step back when we speak. And so there's this acronym. Today's also a day of acronyms, by the way. But the acronym THINK. Is what I'm saying true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? Imagine if before we spoke, before we responded or reacted with our words, we took a pause. And the pause is more able to be taken when we've had experiences in the silence, when we've had the meditation practices that remind us that silence and peace is possible moment by moment. Being love, another acronym, and I've shared this one with you before, but I just really appreciate how succinct it is and how it reminds me how I can be love out into the world. And so to be loved this holiday season, what I want to be intentional about and invite you into is to listen intently to the people that are around you, to let other people feel understood. Let other people understand you in those moments of just deep listening. By the way, isn't that one of the ways in which we can bring people hope? Just by listening and just being something that they can lean on. Oh, optimize. Optimize our time, whether, I don't know if I'm going to be baking again with my son, to be quite honest with you. But how do I optimize the time that I do have with him? How do I optimize the time that I have with my coworkers? A few weeks ago, I got this understanding, we get so busy at work. We love each other deeply, but we get so busy at work that it's really nice to just take a moment to optimize the time that we have. I try it as much as I can. Sometimes I am about the work. Sometimes I do get into the busyness, but it's something that I want to be more mindful of. And so optimize the way in which we share love with each other. And in the moment, ask ourselves, what is the best use of our time in relationship to each other? The V, to value the people that are in our lives, to notice the gifts that they bring. When we talk about looking for the good, right? Look for the good in everyone. Look for the good, with the people that are around you, in the conversations that you are having. What is really being expressed? What is really showing up? What are the gifts that this person who I love dearly, but I can't stand right now, bring to me? And the E, to express our gratitude. To express, just give somebody a call, send a postcard, send a note, the lost art of the Christmas card, right? But just express your love in any way that you can during this holiday season. And then moving into joy. The fourth attribute of Advent is joy. And the reality is that I feel like if we are being peace, if we're being love, if we are being hope, guess what? I think joy is just naturally going to show up for us. It is our own natural state. And so the more that we can just be those things for other people, experience the joy that we give other people during this holiday season, the more that we experience the joy. Giving the gifts, right? Giving the gifts. I don't really care that much if my son has a Nintendo or my husband has a really nice shirt. What I really love is when I see the joy in their faces and I see how happy it makes them, and their joy becomes my joy. So look for the ways in which other people's joys can become your joy this holiday season, and learn to make it a habit. Because joy, yes, it is our natural state, but joy is also a practice. Joy is a practice that we can implement in our lives, and it is a practice that we can move life through, and in that way really invite ourselves to experience a greater sense of what we are here to be. And that, to me, is what brings us the most joy, when we recognize how on purpose we are. And that could be the ways in which we show up at work, or the ways in which we are showing up, in service. But joy, at the end, for me, is when I realized just how amazingly sacred and holy I am through the Christ Spirit that is alive in me. And so it is through all of this that we no longer just move through the Christmas holiday, or even beyond the holiday, move through the day, right? Move through the busyness, move through whatever the challenges may be. It is in those moments when we can be clear about what it is that we want to experience, or what it is that we want others to experience through us, that we recognize more of just how amazing God's essence is within us. Now, John 1, 9 and 10 says, "There it is, the true light which, coming into the world, enlightens everyone. Christ was in the world." Christ is in the world. It isn't something that is being born on the 24th or the 25th. It isn't something that we celebrate the birth of, even in consciousness, on those days. Christ is born in the world, moment by moment, the way in which we express it. And there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is, there it is in the way in which I relate to those around me, and in the ways in which I experience God in my relationship. So don't let this time pass you by. Let's really go for the adventure. Let's really move into this time as a pathway to experience more of God, more of good, more of us in the world. And what a beautiful holiday it will be. Namaste, and thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Juan. That was beautiful. Gosh, I just love how Unity on the Bay celebrates and teaches and shares about the message of the holidays, don't you all? You know, just that reminder that the Christ that is born is really the light that is born, the light that's in each one of us, and bringing that through the values of hope and peace and joy. Wow, I just love the holiday season at Unity on the Bay. Can you tell? So make sure that you continue to stay with us, because we really do have a lot of great opportunities for you all to continue to learn and to give and to receive so much of what we have here to offer. And so as we move into our opportunity for giving and gratitude, we really lean into that holiday giving and receiving through the spiritual laws of gratitude and of offering and of tithing. So if you'd like to join us in doing such by providing an offering today, you can do so with the envelopes that are available for you if you're here in the temple today, in the sanctuary. Or if you'd like to, you can go green by texting the word GIVE to the number 833-245-5645. And that number is also available for you on the screen and at your screen if you are watching online. And just as a small note, remember that our text giving number has changed. So you'll want to make a note of that and make sure that you're using our updated system. I'm going to give you a few moments in sacred silence to prepare your gift before we bless our offering. We thank you for your gifts and for your generosity, and we bless them together with our offertory blessing. We say, "Divine love that I am blesses all that I give and all that I receive." All right, so now we are going to extend our blessing to the kids who have been in the Kids Zone, whether in person or online. We're going to just extend our hands with our energy and say our children's blessing together. Children, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you, and we see you doing great things. All right, so just remember that we are here to pray with you. So if our prayer chaplains are here, please step forward. You can connect with any of them after the service for some sacred prayer. And also, if you'd like to leave your prayer requests in the comments, that will also be held in prayer by our prayer chaplain team. And with that, we're going to close with Reverend Juan coming up to say the prayer for protection, followed by the peace song.
Thank you, Shantae. And thank you to all of you for joining us, for being a part of this Sunday experience, for going out in the world and being the amazing individuals that you are. Make sure you pass by the Christmas Joy program table to learn how you can be involved. With that, I'm going to invite us to stand so that we can say our prayer for protection. And so together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I have armpit issue.